Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome to this incredibly dark background video of some hand lettering. The lights and everything are changing. The overhead setup is going to be changing soon as well. We've just moved into a new office, so I'm pretty happy with what we've got so far. But today we're making a video all about compositions. Now, if you don't know, I'm a hand lettering artist and logo designer, so I do a lot of these compositions, and people ask me a lot of the time and ask a lot of other hand lettering artists how they actually do these compositions. Like, how do you know where to put the words? Which words do you put like this? How do you keep the words looking intact, neat and tidy throughout? And if you follow me on Instagram, then you'll see that I've got a lot of like different ideas for compositions. You've got simple ones like this one here, which is just like a straight line composition, but it all feels balanced. You've got other ones over here, like, let's have a look, you know, like the Come Design With Me one. Again, that's straight line, but the composition looks good. And you've got other creative ones as well, such as, you know, Play Every Day, which is, you know, a pretty cool composition. Everything's going in the right way and everything looks balanced. Well, today I'm going to be showing you how I make these and how you can make them very easily as well, even if you're just starting out in the world of hand lettering. This video is brought to you by FreshBooks. So I'm going to take you through this one here, the 3 facts to live by today, and I'm going to basically show you how it all works. So whenever I start a hand lettering project, it always starts off with the words written out in a line. Not like this. This is like the skeleton model that I was working on, but I always write down the words somewhere. So I would normally, like, you know, if I was to be over here, I'd write facts to live by, and I would always write them down, and I would like basically underline the most important words, or circle them or highlight them. So that is facts and live. Then what I would do is create a composition. Now you can create compositions in different ways. I'm going to show you here how this one was created very quickly, and then we're going to work on our own. This composition here was created by using the box method, which is basically just drawing out shapes. You can see here, if I was to highlight the layer above it, that this fits exactly on top of the composition. Obviously it's been moved slightly, but you've got the composition there that's all drawn out with different shapes, and the idea is that you put the letters inside of the shapes. Now the easiest compositions to have are the ones that are symmetrical. So by that I mean it's well balanced on either side and it looks pretty even. So I have this sort of like guide down here that shows me the middle of my artboard or the middle of my canvas, and you can create them that way. You can draw them out, you can do whatever you need to do, just like I've done here, as you can see. Well, today what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off a new canvas down here, and I'm going to take you through my sort of composition ideas, how I get them and how I perfect them, and how to create ideas quickly. The first thing I do when I create a new piece of like work is I go up to my canvas and I turn on my drawing guide and I edit that drawing guide. I turn the grid down a bit, change the opacity, and move this to a reddish color. The next thing I would normally do is generally create the box or the frame for the lettering. Now I'm actually working on not a mural but a chalk wall in my office, and I want to make sure that I can get an idea down that looks good so I can transfer it to the chalkboard. So I'm going to basically draw a rough frame for my chalkboard. It doesn't have to be exact, I'm just using straight lines like this to create it, because I'm going to just draw a rectangle and then basically move it around. Once I've got the rectangle, I can move it around. If I turn on freeform, you can just move this to whatever size you need it to be, and it'll be something like this. That's like the frame for the work that I want to do it on. So now that I've got the frame, what I would generally do now is create some quick ideas on a new layer inside, and that would just be writing down and just using my brain power to create a very quick composition. So what I want to letter out is let's create today. If I can write that. So that is what I want to create a composition for. So it's 3 words, and create is obviously the big word in there. So obviously I'll just underline that. And the next thing I'm going to do is come up with, you know, a composition way. You know, I can keep it to the middle of the artboard here, so I could write, you know, let's, and I'm just using a marker pen that I've made in Procreate. And it looks awful, but don't worry. It's just to get your idea out onto the frame to see what you like. Create. And we can like move that into there, like so. And then today could be here, like so. So we've got one idea there, but that's pretty big and it's pretty linear across the board. So what we could do, in fact, is do something a bit different, which is make it a bit more diagonal. So I'll create another layer here, and I would just basically make some, I don't know, some lines like this. And this is going to be my new guide that I'm going to use. So this is going to be let's create, and it's supposed to look bad. It's just so you know where the letters are going. Today. So there's another idea. Let's move on to a next one. And this is basically composition ideas. It's very easy to create them. Now in the next one, what we could do is use a method that Ian Barnard and Stefan Kuhn's made, which is the grid builder. Now the grid builder is a bunch of brushes that you can get, and I'll link them down below at Design Cuts. But these brushes are amazing for creating compositions. Basically you choose one. Let's choose this one here on a new layer. Scale that down. Let's use this one. Scale this down, but you can see the center point is there, so we can keep it all balanced and everything nice looking there. And this is a really good way of coming up with really clean compositions. You basically just like fill it out, and we can have like an icon in there or something else. But now that I've got those, I can like merge them together, lower the opacity, create a layer on top, go back to my marker, and we can start writing it out. And it's got these nice little guides in between there, so you can genuinely see, if I get into a new layer here, you can see where you're supposed to be aiming the letters at, so you don't have to do that much work for it. Now we've got like cool compositions there, and although it doesn't look good, this is part of the idea process. The compositions are a huge part of hand lettering. The way that I see compositions is this: the actual frame and filling that out in the most interesting and legible way is the problem. We need to solve that. So coming up with these different ideas using either the grid builder or using methods that I've shown you is a great way of doing it. Now if I was to look through this idea here, you can see that let's create today, it doesn't look that great. I mean it fills it out pretty well, but it'll be quite big and there's no interesting variation. So if I go to the next one, you can see that this one fills everything in. It's quite interesting. There's a bit of movement. We can add some more stuff in there. If I was to come in here like this, I can add more, you know, a flourish here for the T and everything else. We can add things in. Now this one does the job pretty well because it fills out the mural space itself, and we can translate that to the chalk wall. Whereas this one here looks great, and it probably look better if the actual composition was a square. So if the composition was like over here like this would fit better if it was like that. So the next step that I always go into when I find it is that I don't always delete these ones, but I always go to the one that I liked, and then I basically lower the opacity down, create a new layer, and they're just lines right now. I'm trying to keep them as nice as possible, and you can do this in many different ways, but I'm just using parallel as possible lines so they all go in the same area. And then I'm going to go back up here, go back to my inking pen here, which is just my marker that I use for drawing random ideas down. I am then going to go over this in a better fashion. So I might even lower or make my pen a bit smaller so I can go over this. And it's not supposed to be like perfect, it's just rough. Then we have a look at the end and see what it looks like all in all. All in all, it's not a bad concept. It fills out the artboard. So what I'm going to do now is show you after I've finished it, what it looks like at the end. Okay, so obviously this is going on a chalkboard, so this is the end product. It's still not finished. Obviously I need to put it on the chalkboard and it's still quite rough. I've got these little smudges in there that I want to do for the chalkboard. Just use the smudge pen. But that is it. That's basically how you create a cool composition inside of your hand lettering, whether you're on the iPad or whatever else. I just want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, FreshBooks. If you're a hand letterer and you do it for a job, or you're an artist and you do it for a job, then you need invoicing software. Well, FreshBooks actually makes it easier for you to send invoices and get paid even faster. I've been using FreshBooks for a few years now and it's been nothing but amazing in getting invoices sent. The best thing about it is the fact that I can actually see when someone's viewed an invoice that I've sent to them. So when they come back to me and say that they haven't seen that invoice, well, I already know because it tells me. With so many features such as messaging the person that you're invoicing directly within FreshBooks, to gathering up your expenses and linking bank accounts to it, there's really not much competition in the market out there for an app like FreshBooks. So if you'd like to try FreshBooks for 30 days completely free, risk-free, then click that link down below and remember to tell them that Will Paterson sent you. And if you enjoyed this video, please remember to press that red subscribe button and turn on all post notifications so you never miss a video like this again. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Follow me on Instagram and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.